I think in your lifetime, we will detect life on other worlds. Maybe in my lifetime.
If there's anything that can bring humanity together, it might be discovering extraterrestrial life other than here on Earth.
I was always, as a little kid, interested in exploring. I always think of the times when I was a kid looking at the stars. A lot of people look at the stars and wonder what they are. But that wasn't all I did. I enjoyed exploring the neighborhood, pretending to discover pirate treasures when I was 8 or 9.
Everywhere you look, you're able to make interesting discoveries. It's an absolutely outrageous position to be in, I have to tell you. So we're very, very excited.
No, I've always been a happy guy. I was a happy kid. I'm going to put this in here. And we're using this previously used carbon fiber, which is very, very lightweight. Well, when I came here, I established the instrumentation program. Much of my activities at a telescope involve setting up equipment, making sure things function, making sure everything's plugged in, making sure everything works. And I wanted to put the students that came in here as graduate students on the biggest telescopes in the world. I had told people for years, someday it'll be small enough to fit in a shoebox.
When I was figuring out what to do next, I was like, what am I really interested in? And it came to me that I was really interested in like the big questions, right? So I contacted my current advisor, Charlie Telesco, and he encouraged me to apply to the graduate program here at UF.
We do research in astrophysics in many different areas, and right now we're focusing on astrobiology. We want to be able to detect life on other worlds. I worked at NASA. I had a laboratory. I worked with a lot of scientists. So as I began thinking about the formation of planets, I realized I didn't. I realized that other people realized, and so it became obvious to me that magnetic fields, which control how stuff in space moves, they would have an important influence on that planet's forms. So I actually built an instrument, or built a mode in an instrument that could detect magnetic fields. Teams of us have gone to the Chilean Andes, up north of Santiago in the Atacama Desert. Watching sunrise over the Andes Mountains after you've had a great night of observing is really cool. Or looking up and seeing the stars. The sky is yours. And you got Fleetwood Mac or, Lady Gaga on the radio blasting music, and you're there under the stars. Anything that you do, with passion, if that's your life's work, wow, how much more could you ask for? I should have looked for it before I have it around here somewhere. I had visited a friend in London, was the person who recommended that I consider the possibility of not just looking at the exoplanets, but maybe even looking at life, and that the technique that he had developed would actually be applicable to that. We originally started calling the instrument IMPS, Integrated Miniature Polarimeter and Spectrograph, IMPS. The instrument is designed to detect a property of life called homochirality.
It's the concept that molecules, our biological molecules, they're actually mirror images of each other, these two flavors of the same molecule. And as it turns out, life only prefers one of those mirror images.
That's kind of weird, that nature generally makes both, but organisms only use one version of these certain molecules. Realistically, scientists are thinking and designing experiments to find microbial life. The reason is because if we look on Earth at the life that lives in extreme environments, we find life microbial life. And we call these analogs because we think that they may well be analogs that represent the conditions that we might find. If we land on Mars and we see a smudge on the ground and we say, I wonder if that's an organism or is organic. And we can look at it with our instrument and it will glow in circularly polarized light. And that will tell us immediately that it's organic. It probably was alive or is alive. So we're just going to mark that position. And I think the chances that there's not life out there are 0. A lot of people ask that question, don't you feel insignificant? And you are insignificant. But so what? Knowing that you're part of this wonderful thing we call the universe, and you're given an opportunity. You have to realize we're just made of stuff made in stars. And for an instant in time, you're you. And then all of that will disappear. And we're just like poof. I don't feel insignificant. I feel part of this great, wonderful universe. You guys can put on glasses if you like. You don't have to because you're not looking at the beam directly. I think that the chances that we're going to find intelligent life, even on Earth, is highly unlikely. No, I would say, to answer your question, you can just cut that, right?
I'm afraid that, actually.
Yeah.